Okay, now we're going to go to line 10 and speak with the PCMHA for Carbonear Harbour Grace, the Minister of Finance, and the President of the Treasury Board, Mr. Jerome Kennedy. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good afternoon, Pete. How you doing?
Very good.
Just wanted to have a chat, Pete, about the agreement that was reached, a tentative agreement that was reached with NAPE today. I wanted to make sure that the details, some of the details got out there and people realize exactly what's involved in the deal. As you are aware, I'm sure, but some people are aware, the current contract expired a while ago, so this summer we got back into serious negotiations, and over the last couple of weeks been some intense bargaining, and it resulted last night in 12 NAPE bargaining units representing over 17,000 workers reaching a tentative agreement. So
all a huge accomplishment. When did it actually expire? I wasn't clear on that myself. It was last year sometime, wasn't it?
Sorry, the bargaining?
The last contract.
Yeah, the contract expired in March 31st, 2012, so we're actually in year 2 now of this contract.
Right, okay. So essentially, the first 0 year has been passed, we're in the second one now, and there's a signing bonus for the second year, is that right?
Yeah, what we did in the signing bonus, in trying to maintain consistency with our budget, Pete, in terms of where we are in the last budget and where we expect, how we expect things to improve in the next couple of years, there's 2 zeros up front, but there's a signing bonus of $1,400 for everyone, I guess the best way to put it, and we're hoping to have that money out before the end of the year. So that's year 2, so it'll be a $1,400 signing bonus, and then the actual 2% will kick in April of next year. So the 3% then will be the last year when we're projected to come back to surplus.
Right. Okay. Well, listen, I'm sure this is going to be, like I say, the NAPE leadership is going to recommend it to their members, and they're going to be looking for ratification votes very soon. You see any glitches on the horizon? Any things that you think might be of some question to the members?
Well, one of the difficulties in dealing with NAPE as a union, Pete, and this is and certainly we have to commend Carol Furlong and Bert Blunden for the way they handle it. But there's 12 bargaining units of approximately 17,000 people who are in. Negotiations are ongoing, and each one of those bargaining units will have issues that are peculiar to itself, whether it be language or financial. So the way we did this, we worked out what I would call the general framework, the 0023 with the signing bonus. But there's also very significantly increases in shift and weekend differentials for all of their workers that are triple and double, increases in standby rates that certainly puts a lot of money in the pockets of NAPE workers. Then within the agreements themselves, you will have certain monetary incentives for one bargaining unit that may not be in the other, because the issues could be somewhat different. So there's a good, what NAPE have done, what we've done as a government, and what the Premier has committed to doing is to treat the workers fairly, and so that what we have is a situation where, as you look at the package as a whole, you might get scared away by those couple of zeros, but when you look at the package as a whole, we feel that's quite fair, that it addresses a lot of the issues that our workers are facing, and it also commits then to the implementation of the job evaluation system, which will again result in increases to a lot of workers. So I'm quite confident that when NAPE has the opportunity to sit down with all of their workers, explain to them what we've done here, that this will be the agreement will be hopefully accepted. To give you an example of something that may be simple, but I think will have an impact. For example, a 20% increase in meal allowances for people who are traveling. We have increases in, as I've indicated, in the shift differentials and standby rates. So there's things like that I think will be received well by workers.
Complicated business, and perhaps knowing that, it's surprising a little to me that it happened so quickly, and you seem to be at a place where both sides are happy. Are you a little surprised or just relieved?
No, I'll tell you what happened. We sometimes, and this is quite interesting, I've been meeting with the various unions, but it's a complicated process, and there's a dance almost that goes on before you actually get down to talking about money, because you've got to go through the language in the collective agreements, and generally unions fight very hard to maintain whatever's in the collective agreements. They don't want to give anything up that can be seen as a concession. So we're sitting there and we're looking at how do we get to the stage where we can talk about money. And we got to that stage probably a few weeks ago where I'd had discussions with the Premier, and the Premier had indicated that she was fine with the way we wanted to proceed. And so then we sat down, and once we came up with what I'll call the framework that would govern all of the bargaining units, then we started sitting down with each unit and say, well, what are the particular or specific issues you have? And so we've worked our way through them in the last few weeks, but over the last 8 or 9 days, I mean, people have been working on this day or night. The Premier certainly committed today. She said that we want to be fair to the workers while recognizing the fiscal position of the province, and that we feel that what we've accomplished here is a deal that will be seen as fair. That we're coming off the unusual increase, if I could put it that way, 21% in the last contract. So what we have here now is more in line with what's going on in the rest of the country, but it's creative, it's innovative, and addresses issues that various bargaining units have.
Well, I guess congratulations are in order for both sides getting to this stage. Now we will wait and hear how the ratification votes go. While I have you, and I hope this isn't unfair, but I'd just like to ask you about the letter that Tom Marshall had in the paper recently supporting the Premier. And I heard one comment this morning to the effect that it's great to hear that Tom Marshall, as we know, is on his way out. A lot of people were looking for people such as yourself, perhaps, to voice your own position on something like that. Where would you frame yourself in terms of Mr. Marshall's letter?
Yeah, I was asked that question in Scrum earlier today, and I really don't know. I hadn't seen the letter, so I was taken a bit by surprise. But if the question was, do I support the Premier? Certainly. I mean, I'm as a cabinet minister, I'm supportive of the Premier and our government, and I work closely with the Premier in terms of reaching this deal. So I don't know what's to be read into the letter. I think there was one person, the Minister Marshall, signed the letter himself. But I mean, as a government, we had a caucus meeting and a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and things are very good. We're trying to work our way through everything, but so I'm not quite certain what the question is. But if that's the question, certainly the answer is yes.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate the call, and look forward to speaking to you again anytime. And by all means, give us a call to Nightline. We haven't heard from you for a while. We'd love to have you on that program as well.
Yeah, thank you, Pete. One last point I'd like to make too, though. I certainly commended the NAPE bargainers for what they had, the work they had done, but the staff over here at in Treasury Board did a great job. They worked day and night to accomplish this deal, and it might be interesting that the only people who don't get any of these raises or bonuses are MHAs. So the previous caller, I mean, we're aware of all of that, of the sensitivity, and certainly there's no that doesn't apply to MHAs.
All right. Thank you very much for that.
See you. Bye.
Again. Okay. Bye-bye. Well, there you go. The Minister of Finance speaking about the new agreement, at least in principle, for NAPE. And as I said earlier, the union will now take it to the members and be looking for ratification votes on all of that. How do you feel about it? Does it sound fair to you? As I said, I think it represents somewhere in the neighborhood of $48 million in compensation increase for NAPE members, and sounds like a lot of money. Maybe some think it's too much. Maybe some think it's not enough. But wherever you are on it, by all means, feel free to give us a call. And in particular, I suppose, the $1,400 bonus, which really, since it's a 0 and 0, and this is year 2, and the bonus comes in year 2, I don't know if we can truthfully call it a 0-0, because there is a bonus there for people right away. And then, of course, come next April, they'll have the 2% and then the 3% in the final year, and that will take us up to the next election when the government says that they will be back in the black, or at least have a balanced budget. All right. Well, I have got one response, or several already, but Mike on his tweet here says, layoffs to a signing bonus. Give me a break. Using my tax dollars to gain in the polls. And someone else asks, it says, the minister said all workers, but ask if it includes part-time and casual workers. And again, that might be different depending on which of the bargaining units you're speaking about. I'm not sure. Oh, okay, Paul Lane has answered that. He says, news release states full-time employees get signing bonuses. So it's only full-time according to, or at least that's what's implied by the tweet there by Paul Lane.